Hey gang, Lou here from Jersey Shore Fabricators. So, it's November. It's cold. What else are we going to do today? Let's put air conditioning in the Mustang. Why not? We have a system from Classic Auto Air that the customer purchased that we're putting in. As I say on a lot of big projects I do here on the channel, I'm not sponsored. Nobody gave this to me. The customer bought it. It was $1,300. Now, a lot of guys, and I find it funny, but they'll sit there and say, oh, the instructions, let me throw that away. Yeah, you know what? This is $1,300 of not my money. So yeah, we're gonna follow the book on this one. There's a lot of parts to this. It's a very inclusive kit. You get a new condenser, obviously at the compressor. You get a adapter bracket to go from the York to Sandon compressor. You get all the lines. You get a new electronic control unit for the heat and air and all that. The whole evaporator box that goes behind the dashboard, that's included. I mean, it seems to be a very inclusive kit. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've never done one of these before. So we're gonna go through this together. And it's either going to be the greatest thing in the world, I'm going to be a hero, or I'm going to look like a complete fool. Time will tell. Let's see what happens. Now, the first thing the instructions say to do is disassemble the entire dashboard. This car didn't have a center console in it when we got it. It did, but it wasn't bolted in. It wasn't even for this car. I don't know what it came out of. I already had the dash pad off. I had to replace the flasher for the four-ways and do some electrical work on the car. So now it's just a matter of taking out the glove box, the big subassembly, the radio, the heater controls. Well, the gauges are already out. They're in the back of the car. We got some nice digital gauges that are going in there. Analog sweep, but digital movements. Let's go ahead and tear into this. Now, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about when it comes to quote-unquote custom car builders. Alright, so you've already seen the intro to this car. It's got a decent paint job on it. They did nothing with the suspension though. And let's look at the interior here. Take out the glove box. Everything back here is rusted. Got all this nasty stuff going on up here. That seal between the cowl and the heater box. This defrost, this vent duct isn't even hooked up. And then I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but we got antifreeze inside the car. So the heater core on this thing is leaking too. And judging by the way everything else here is kind of rusted, I'm going to say that, this whole unit here is probably inoperable. So making the call to replace it with an aftermarket AC unit just makes sense. For a couple bucks more than what you're going to pay to find an original one, but you get a completely brand new system. It just doesn't pay to try to make this work. Let's press on. If you've never done it before, the way the glove box comes out is there's 3 screws down here on the bottom. Okay, let me pull back. So we're looking at the dashboard. That's the glove box opening. Down here's the hinge for the glove box. And then on the sides, there's going to be a screw here. Finger out of the way, and a screw here. You take out those 2 screws, the entire glove box comes out. If you've never taken apart a Mustang like this, to get the dash pad off, there's a couple of screws here, screws along the top here. And of course on the other side in front of the steering wheel. Now, once you do that, all you do is take the dashboard, pull back very sharply, it'll pop and get rid of it. Now, once you do that, this whole bezel here has to come off. The way you do that is you take off the knobs for the radio. Now, normally there would be nuts in here, but whoever put this car together didn't put the nuts on. The radio is just sitting there. And then, above the radio, you got 2 screws here and here, and then above the HVAC controls, there's another 2 screws. Here and here. Take those out. And then, once those screws are out, you can take this whole thing right down off of there. Reach in here, see your floppy radio. Figure out a way to extract that. In our case, it doesn't matter. We got a, what is it, Rust Sound, the classic, I don't know, classic radio, the new digital radio thing that goes in there. Now to finish getting this off, all these controls got to come out of here. So I'll work on getting these off, and then we'll come back and see what's next. Next step, according to the instructions, is to remove the 4 bolts around the perimeter of the heater AC box. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out this support bar here from the shock tower to the firewall. Obviously I have to disconnect the heater hoses down there so that you guys could see it. And then I see one right there, and I'm sure there's going to be 3 more. Now, one of the things that I'm going to have to be careful with, and you're going to have to be careful with, is that when you take it out, do not, or try not to get the antifreeze all over the carpet, especially if they actually did put a new carpet in this car. My plan is I'm simply going to take a air hose, blow out the heater core as much as I can, get as much of the crap out of there that will come out. Then I'll remove the whole unit. And at that point, they actually have you getting ready to modify the defroster duct and get ready to put the new unit in. I mean, so far I'm into this job for, I don't know, 12 minutes. So, well, I don't know if the rest of it's going to go that easy, but if it does, I'm a happy guy. Now with the heater core out, or at least the box for it anyway, look down the side there. You see how wet that is? Yeah. That is a major heater core leak. That didn't come out of the front, not where the hoses go. That all came out from inside. When I had pulled this out, I was actually able to see antifreeze level up here, and I was moving it out. Then it all started to drain out into the car. So a word of advice, have a shop vac handy when you're doing this. Now, inside the car, big hole in the dashboard. All these old vacuum and electrical lines, they're not going to be needed. New unit is completely electronic. Take a look around in here. I don't know if you can see or not. Probably not a whole lot. But we're going to check for rust and all that. I've already gone through and cleaned up all the insulation that fell and all that stuff. And, well, we'll see what's next. Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention. Anybody who's doing this, if you're looking for the locations of the heater core bolts, there's one there. There's one there. And there's going to be one right back there. Nothing underneath. I spent an hour looking for anything else and I couldn't find anything. Just make sure you disconnect where the blower motor there attaches to the air intake inside the car. And give it a good tug and it should all come out. Alright gang, so we're assembling a new AC unit for the 71 Mustang here. And if you just follow the instructions, it goes pretty smooth. This box comes assembled just the way it is. This is your heater core, AC, evap, all that. It says to locate and attach this faceplate. That was already on here when I got it. So if you have one and it's not installed, it just goes on with S-clips. The defrost duct here has 2 S-clips that clip on the back here. And then you just shoot 2 screws in through the front. There's a foam seal around here. And then according to the instructions, looks like we move on to wiring. And as far as the wiring goes, again, they make it really, really simple. You have a harness that has an orange, a yellow, a blue connector. So the orange they call out in the instructions goes to your water valve, which is here. It's got an orange sticker and an orange harness. For the face and floor servo, it's a yellow sticker, yellow harness. For the defrost, it's blue with a blue harness. And that's just going to plug in there. This is so simple, even I could do this. The instructions call out to have a 12-volt battery available so that you can calibrate this on the bench. It also says to plug other things in. So I got a little tripped up because the ECU here already came with the wires plugged into it. So of course I'm looking around and it's already done. The screen one is from the control unit. This is what goes in the dashboard. Nice unit there. And now we're going to get into all the fun wiring, because now we got to start putting power and grounds to this and make sure it works on the bench before we actually put it in the car. I got this kind of jerry-rigged. I got all my ground wires there going to the battery. I got the hot wire going to the hot wire, which goes to the ECU, I believe. Now, it's going to describe in the instructions that it comes with this little calibration test chip. This is a little LED on there. As you're calibrating, you have to watch that LED, make sure it's doing everything it's supposed to. Now I got the hiccups. It's going to cycle through everything, the floor, the frost, and the face vents. Once you get done, you have to remove that calibration chip there, put it back in the bag, and hold on to it for later, in case this ever has to be serviced at any point down the road. So I'm going to walk you through this real quick. Hopefully you'll be able to hear everything. The loud noise you hear in the background is my shop heater. And back over there behind those cardboard boxes. There's a very large fan behind it blowing air out into the shop. So when I turn this on, you can hear the fan blowing. We're on the floor setting. So right now, the face is closed and defrost is closed. If I go to the defrost mode, see that opens. Now I got air coming out of there. If I go to the face one, now I got air coming out of there. You saw the door move. Hopefully you saw that. Now, the last thing they want you to check is the hot water valve, which is here. So, if I get this just right, and I put this to hot, that'll open, and we'll be able to see right through that. Come on. And then if I move it to cold, you'll see it just closed. So we know the operation is working. We know it's doing what it's supposed to do. So now I tell you, take everything apart and get ready to put the sucker in the car. So here comes the fun part. Folks, so let me bring you up to date on where we are with this, or up to speed rather. Okay, so mounting the AC unit in the car should be pretty straightforward. Now, according to the instructions and according to their website and the PDF that's on their website, they send a template. And the template is for a screw. Well, it's actually behind this cover plate, which I am not taking off. We're going to get to that in a second. But there's a bracket that attaches to the firewall. You drill a hole through the firewall, and you drill another hole, a 3/4 inch hole, for the drain tube. Now, the template wasn't included in my kit. There's also supposed to be a 1/2 inch piece of hose included to drain, and that wasn't included. So I'm a little upset down there. let's see. You can see the bottom of the hole for the drain, and the way that this cover fits is going to sit kind of crooked. But it is what it is. Now, on the inside, the unit mounts to the original bracket up here that had the fresh air intake. The cover for the fresh air intake included with the kit is on. There's also this bracket, which goes up to the support bar for the dash assembly. And that's it. Now the unit, I don't know if you can tell from here, but the unit's sitting level inside the car. And it's tilted forward so that, you know, it can drain. Now your factory floor drain, you're going to have to figure out what to do with that. They don't give you any instructions. I would say take the hose out, try to plug it off. Also, the original screw holes, I gotta check. I don't know if there's body plugs included with the kit to plug up those holes. But that's the condenser installation. Would have been easier with that template, but, you know, look, I'm not going to cry about it. You know, we're fitting something that doesn't belong into a car into a car. That's why we're fabricators. That's why we're hot rodders. We figure out where problems are. We work it out. We overcome them. That's as simple as that. So now we get to move on to the wiring and finish up the underhood installation. The box is installed. We got our defrosters all plumbed up. Now we're working on the face vents or the side vents. Now they give you new adapters, and on your current ones, which is right here, you have these little clips here that hold it on. You're going to pull that off with as much effort as it takes, and then they give you new ones to put on that have the same types of clips. It's really pretty easy. You just need two hands to do it. So if you made it this far into the install, where you're at is we're now ready to put the condenser in. Now I already went and assembled the condenser over on the workbench. Just follow the instructions. It'll tell you what holes to use, how to put the dryer on, all that. The issue you may have, right here, the condenser is hitting. You can actually see a little piece of paint that I chipped off. So I'm just going to take a little zip wheel, just cut a little slice out of this, give myself a you know, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. There isn't much that it's hitting by. I'll show you. I'll put the condenser into place, and right there, even if I raise it up, it's still hitting a little. So let me get that taken care of. So the control unit is mounted in the center console. There's no radio, there's no wiper switch, there's no gauges. There's more videos coming, but this is going to be a little anticlimactic, as this is as far as I could take it. The problem is that although this is a factory AC car, there's a bracket missing for the air conditioning compressor. So I can't mount the new compressor yet. But everything else I walked you through is exactly what you're going to do on your car. Just make sure you got the proper brackets on there. Now, like I said, I hate to end the video like this, but what are you going to do? I got to reach out to the owner. We got to track down the bracket. I think I found a guy on Facebook Marketplace. Great place if you haven't used it. I'm so done with Craigslist. Even Letgo. Facebook Marketplace, you can find all kinds of specific groups. So I found a 64 to 73 owners group on there. You know, you can ask all kinds of questions, buy and sell parts. So I'm reaching out to a guy on there. Hopefully I get everything bought for, I don't know, $50. You know, I need the idler pulley, and I need the actual bracket that the compressor mounts to. I'll be doing a follow-up video after this. right now I need to sort of clear out the memory from making all these little videos to start a new video. So if you haven't already, give us a like, hit subscribe, hit the bell down there to stay up to date on notifications. We're going to try to put out videos, as I say, every time on a more consistent basis, but unfortunately, life gets in the way. Until we see you next time, peace.